Okay, so adrenal fatigue starts with energy. What is energy? How does it affect us? And why is it so important to how we feel every day? So everything in the entire universe is made of energy. It all comes down to protons, electrons, neutrons that create all those atoms, and everything is made up of the atoms that are made up of the energy. The density of those energies is what creates the different materials. So your computer, a piece of wood furniture, and your body are all created from this energy, and that's, you know, just the density of that energy creates those different surfaces. Our bodies specifically are very intricate systems of energies. So what I've put on here as the graphic for you are the meridians within our bodies. Those are our main energetic pathways. It's kind of like a freeway system. When these freeways are open, the energy travels freely, kind of like when there's no cars on the road. You can go 120 miles per hour and nobody's going to care unless you get spotted by a cop. Don't do that. But when they travel freely, it keeps your vibrations high, keeps your outlook positive, keeps your health and your wellness optimal. When you experience dis-ease, and note that is dis-ease, two separate words joined together. It's like saying you're not at ease. Things are not coming easily to you. Your life is without ease. So that happens when there's something blocking one of these pathways. So again, go back to that freeway analogy. If you have a ton of traffic, or if there's an accident, or something spills on the roadway, or they're doing construction, you're slowed down. It's harder, you get more frustrated. And really feel into, you know, like if you're sitting on the 5 freeway, because I'm doing this from California, and that freeway is always super fun. If you're sitting on the 5 and you're stuck in traffic and you're sitting there for 2 hours, because that's not unheard of, you start to lose your mind a little bit, and you get angry, and you get hungry, and you get tired, and you start screaming, and you maybe get a headache, and your vision might go a little bit funny, and you can't think straight about everything else because the only thing that you're focusing on is getting through this traffic jam. So the energetic frequencies in your body are very much the same way as that. So how does this energy get stuck? And there's a few sources of it. These are the main ones. So negative, contradictory self-talk. So when you go against the messages you're receiving from yourself, your intuition, your inner guide, your inner voice, whatever you want to call it, you create a battle between your heart and your ego, or your mind, meaning that one of those things has to come out on top, has to win. And usually that's your ego, unless you've done a lot of self-work and you're really in tune with your heart and your feelings and everything. But for the majority of people, it's very hard that once you've reached that point where you're getting pushed, that your ego is not going to prevail. So your ego then shuts those energies down where they are and leaves them stuck, blocking those pathways. The next one, going it alone. So as humans, we need to connect. We also need to commiserate. So think of the first thing you do when something either extraordinary or terrible happens. You want to talk to somebody about it. You always want to share it. Sometimes that may look like creating a piece of art and sharing it with the world, making a video to put on YouTube, whatever method you guys have for sharing, but share it. So when you go through something alone, you hold on to that piece that you would release when you share it. And that again creates a block. The next one, new experiences that cannot be likened at all to something else. So think, for example, the last time that you went to a new place, or the last time that you ate something that you were not familiar with, that you hadn't had before. And automatically your brain wants to go, wait, this place is like where I used to go with my family for vacation, or the most common phrase, this tastes like chicken. Your brain always wants to be able to create that link to something, because as part of the ego, we have a hard time with things we can't explain. So, I mean, like fear of the dark, people that are scared of aliens, they're people that are scared of a different belief system, things that they don't know how to liken to something else or how to explain. And that then again creates just a block, because instead of processing it, you shut it down. And then the most common thing that creates stuck energy in our pathways is trauma. And trauma can be everything. Especially right now, trauma is kind of having its moment as a buzzword as well. Because a lot of people hear trauma and they think it's got to be something huge, something radical, PTSD, something very impactful. And they don't realize that trauma can be caused by anything from being yelled at too loudly or finding a worm in your food. Even our body is going under anesthesia. Our body doesn't understand that because it's not supposed to be temporarily put into this death-like state. That's not normal. That's not natural. So something like that can create trauma. It can just be a nightmare that you've had that seemed way too realistic, and then you're consistently worrying about it happening in real life. But it's not the trauma itself that's causing the energy to get stuck. It's the lack of response. And in all of these cases, it's the lack of response. But these are situations where you usually have a lack of response. And then if you really look at it, and we'll go into this in the next slide too, animals are kind of our greatest example of how to appropriately deal with trauma and with stuck energies. Animals automatically react by yelling, crying, making noises, shaking, running, whatever it is that they feel they need to do. They expend the energy. And as humans, we're taught that these things are inappropriate, that it's not okay to cry. It's not okay to have somebody see you crying or shaking. It's not okay to run away from something. It's not okay to yell at the top of your lungs just because you need to get it out. So we're not allowed to release these energies. And this is where the biggest blocks come in and the reason for adrenal fatigue. So, getting stuck in a fight or flight. So, to see the energetic release, we look at the nature kingdom. This video is a gazelle who feigns dead in order to save its life. It's not really dead. Neither of these animals that are coming in are going to eat it. It's okay. It's like a Disney movie. Everything will be fine in the end. But you'll see, once the threat is gone, the gazelle regains function throughout its body. It's going to literally shake the excess energy generated by the fight or flight response so the energetic pathways don't get blocked up. This is their coping mechanism. Animals don't suffer PTSD. They don't hold a grudge. It's not going to go out and tell all of its friends, yo, that cheetah, that hyena, it's on my bad list now. We got to get it back. Sure, it's going to continue to try to avoid them because it doesn't want to get eaten, but it's not going to hold a grudge. It's not going to seek revenge. It's going to release this energy and it's going to be over. It's not going to continue to replay the event as it lives its life. So see, now it's breathing again, and it's slow to regain function because all of its energy has gone towards its fight or flight response. So when your body goes into fight or flight response, all of your energy goes towards saving your life. That's it. Your digestive system, your conscious thought pattern, your libido, your immune system, everything, it all gets shut down, and all the energy goes toward the survival brain and whatever automatic responses are needed at that time. Once you reach safety, like this gazelle has, it realizes it's safe, it can regain its composure. The body wants to release these energies. But as we went over, as humans, that's generally frowned upon. With these energies stuck, our body is perpetually in that fight or flight response. So these energies are consistently diverted away from all of our other systems and stay diverted away from those systems. The energy is always being drawn away from your digestion, your mental clarity, your metabolism, even your sex drive. That's why you always feel drained, tired, like your muscles are sore and you've been in the gym for hours and can never explain why. So, why I'm sure you're all here. How do you fix this? And with some of you, I've gone over this in one-on-one appointments, and hopefully with some of you, I will go over this in future appointments, because I do think it's very important that everything be geared directly towards you. These are all different modalities, but all of these modalities are going to have, you're going to have some that work better than others. So let's just do a few exercises right now, because I don't want to leave you feeling, I want you to start to feel some relief just from what we're going to do here. So you can leave your video on or off, up to you. If it's on, I can tell you if you need some pointers on how you're doing something. If it's off, totally fine. I understand it. Either way, whatever feels comfortable for you, because I don't want you guys to feel uncomfortable at all. So the first thing that we're going to do is called a shoulder shrug exercise. That's what I refer to it as. It's got a much better name in the Kundalini yoga, Kriya names, but we're going to call it the shoulder shrug exercise. So what you're going to do is breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. And on the inhale, you bring your shoulders up as high as you possibly can. And on the exhale, you bring your shoulders down. And I'm just going to set a timer. We're going to do this for 1 minute. And then at the end, we're going to hold our breath and then exhale through our mouth. So we'll start with inhaling, exhaling through your nose. On the inhale, you bring your shoulders up. And then I'll give you the rest of the direction again as we go. So ready, and let's begin. Make sure you're inhaling and exhaling through your nose. And make those inhales and exhales as loud as possible. Deep breathing. You're about halfway there. Keep going. You guys are doing great. As quick as you can. Okay, now inhale and raise your shoulders up. Keep them up. And hold your breath. Hold it a little bit longer. Sip of air through your mouth. And exhale through your mouth powerfully as you put your shoulders down. Okay, put that one in your back pocket, because that's a good one to use. Especially, that one's a really easy one. You don't always have to do it for a full minute, or you can expand it. If you're going through a lot of stuff, do it for 3 minutes. Just put a timer on, do it for 3 minutes. Just make sure at the end of it, you're always inhaling, holding, squeezing, getting all of that stress and tension to the top, and then releasing all of it. And the next one we'll do, I've done with a couple of people, we're going to do a 4-5-6 breath. So we'll breathe in through the nose for a 4 count, hold it for a 5 count, and then exhale slowly through the mouth for a 6 count. Try to breathe in and out with your diaphragm. So if you need to, take your hands and put them on your stomach right next to your belly button. So your middle fingers are on either side of your belly button, and you can feel your stomach expanding and contracting. Because a big thing is we keep our stress in our chest. And if we're breathing in and out through our chest, we get a lot of anxious energy anyway. So you'll want to make sure that you're breathing in and out through your diaphragm as much as you can. So I'll count it for you guys. So we're going to start with inhaling through our nose, then hold, then exhale through the mouth. And the great thing about this one is the more that you get used to it, you can change your counts. You can make it a 7, 8, 9, and 8, 9, 10, and really build. So we'll just start with a 4, 5, 6. So let's inhale 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale through the mouth, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale through the mouth, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And as you get better with that, and as you get practice with that, start to feel that more, you can, like I said, you can change the counts, but you can also close your eyes. You can look to your third eye. You can try and root through your base with that. So there's a lot of ways you can modify that to make that more intense. But if you're just starting out with meditation, with breathing, then that's a good way to just kind of baby step and wade into the pool. There's another meditation that I really like. It's on YouTube, and he's got a podcast on Spotify as well. His name is Raphael Reiter, or Reiter. I honestly am not sure how to say it. It's R-E-I-T-E-R. But it's free, and his guided meditation for transcendence is amazing. He uses sound to latch onto and really get your brain going kind of that way. Because with all of these meditations, the point is, and it's kind of funny when you think about it, but the point is to bore your brain. You just want to bore the heck out of it so that it's not running a million miles an hour, and it just wants to kind of retreat into itself and calm down and maybe take a nap. Because that's when it starts to do its healing, and that's when it can stop talking louder than the things that your body needs it to hear. And the next one, we have crystals. So I have some of them here, just in case you guys haven't seen them before. Amazonite is really good. It heals a lot of the emotional self. So that's a great one to find. It's a greenish color, and it's pretty easy to find and not super expensive. So that's a good one to work with. Also amethyst, and I've got two different ones because amethyst can look like a lot of things. These are both of the more purpley variety. There are some more yellowy ones. It can get a brownish tinge to it. This one's got some particles and things trapped in it. And then this one is more of what you would use to make a polished stone, like a necklace or something. But these are very good. They absorb a lot of the energy, and they're great for transmuting. So they're going to take in all of the chaos, all of the negativity, and then they're going to change it into something useful that you guys can then help to heal instead of dealing with all of the negativity and the chaos energy and the stuck energy. So these are very approachable. You can find amethyst for very cheap prices. The one thing I will say with crystals in general is, and I'll say the same thing when we get to oils, try to know your sources. Understand where they're coming from, understand how they're being mined or gathered or whatever it is. Because crystals, oils, any kind of natural things that you're using, herbs, all keep the energies of their life. So if it's a not good way that they're being mined, if people are not being treated well while they're collecting, if they're being stolen from somewhere, then that's going to be carried in the stone, and you don't want any of that. So another one that I really like, and you can tell how much I like it because I wear it on my finger every day, is black tourmaline. Most of it looks like this with the striations in it, but you can get it in this kind of clustery crystal configuration as well. And I love this one. For some people, they get freaked out looking at it, but I think it's really cool. Black tourmaline is amazing, especially for traumas where you're associating fear, because black tourmaline, it collects things and it repels things, and it's great for protection. So if there's negativity, if there's anything that's coming in terms of wanting to attack, black tourmaline is like your shield. And more than just your shield, it's also going to absorb it and bounce it back. So it's amazing. If your trauma is a scary thing, I definitely recommend working with black tourmaline. Another one is kunzite, and I'm always very careful. I will not recommend kunzite a lot just because it is harder to find and it is usually very expensive. But that said, it is one of the best stones for anxiety and panic attacks, and it's amazing for healing your heart chakra. And then the last one I want to bring up is a sunstone, because a sunstone, a lot of these stones work on your root chakra or on your heart chakra, but a sunstone will also help your self-confidence. So it's if your trauma is something that makes you feel belittled, makes you shrink and shy away, sunstone is definitely going to help. Oils, the most common oil that I'm going to recommend for most things, because with most things, when you get to fixing them, the first step is coming at it from a state of calm. And a state of calm is always great with lavender oil. And like with crystals and virtually anything else, always look at the side and see if you can see your origin or source, or, you know, it'll give you the details of where it came from, or it'll give you like a little QR code that you can scan, and it'll show you exactly where it came from and what its processes were and kind of the life of the herb that's in there. Ylang ylang is good. Clary sage is great for anger. Lavender is good for sadness and depression, and also just for calming. Frankincense and sandalwood are great for connection, and vetiver is also really good for grounding and calming. And then in auriculotherapy, which you guys pretty much know is my bread and butter. I love me some auriculotherapy. For those of you who don't know what auriculotherapy is, it is acupressure focusing on the ears. So your ear, I'm trying to get a chart out here. Your ear is kind of a mini you. So if you look it up, you can see, just look at ear embryo chart, and it'll show you the head is down here. It wraps around so that your feet and everything are down here, and then your insides, all of your organs are inside of this space. So right now what we're going to look at is your adrenal point itself. Now there are going to be complementary points, and that's why I always say it's not just one and done. There's a set depending on what it is that's causing your adrenal fatigue that'll help it. But the adrenal point itself is right here at the tip of your tragus. So what we're going to do is we're going to squeeze that point. You can do it on one, or you can do it on both ears. We're going to breathe in through our nose, counting to 3, and then breathe out through our nose, counting to 3. And we're going to do it 3 times. So breathing in, 2, 3, breathing out, 2, 3, breathing in, 2, 3, breathing out, 2, 3, breathing in, 2, 3, and breathing out, 2, 3. It's like an automatic brain reset. And that one is amazing for doing like in line at the supermarket, or if you're driving along and you get cut off by somebody and you want to scream at them and you start screaming, and then you're like, oh wait, no, screaming at people is bad. Just, you know, covertly grab your ear, because nobody's going to look at you grabbing your ear. They're going to be thinking that you're playing with an earbud or, you know, whatever. Most people are too absorbed in their phone nowadays anyway to realize that you could be picking your nose. You could be picking their nose. They wouldn't notice. So just grab your ear, take a few breaths, reset. Some of the other things listed on here, we've got yoga. Personally, I recommend Kundalini yoga. I think it's really good for getting you into that mind-body connection, whereas some other types like Vinyasa is more about exercise and flow. Yin yoga is good, but again, you're focusing on kind of healing the body, and some of it is the energy stuck within the fascia. But depending on how severe adrenal fatigue you are and how severe that energy is that's stuck, whether you've started working with it at all or whether it's still something that's kind of big and scary, Kundalini is really good for just starting to get moving. EFT is an emotional freedom technique. Most of the time it's tapping. So you can look those up, or you can contact me and we'll do a customized tapping for you. But there's specific points on your body that when you tap them and you go say certain phrases with them, it can kind of hypnotize almost your body into believing and changing its energies and its flows. An easy one is intention setting, and I'll put that kind of with journaling, because with intention setting, you can do it orally, you can do it just kind of saying, today I intend to feel good, and really meaning it, really having that come from your heart. Say that your trauma is that you were in a car accident. So now all of the time, anytime you get in the car, you're looking in your rear view because you're afraid that somebody's going to come up behind you and slam into the back of you. And so then the next time you get in your car, you say, today I intend that this will be a safe drive. And you just put it out into the universe, because you'd be amazed. What you put into the universe comes back to you tenfold, depending on what your belief is, 10, 3, all different numbers. Either way, it comes back to you. So if you say everything is great, then the universe is going to agree everything is great. And again, with journaling, sometimes it's easier to write it. But another thing with journaling is you can explore those traumas in a safe space where you're not talking about it. You're not, because once you voice something, it could feel like it gives it power again. But when you write it, sometimes it's easier to kind of cope, to get it out of your system in pieces. We had somebody that got kicked off. In a rebirth ceremony, rebirth ceremonies are really cool. I've just started offering them, so I'm really excited about them. But rebirth ceremonies take that piece of you and let it die and let it go, and really kind of give it this proper send-off that you need to give it in order to separate from it entirely, and then rebirth that part of you in a new, pure, lit, loving, healing way, so that you're not losing something. You're literally gaining this amazing thing. You just need to make that space for it before it happens. So it's really a really cool thing. I totally encourage it, whether it's with me or somebody else. It's awesome and I love it. And it will make you feel 1,000 times better. Motion, like we saw with the animals, they like to shake. So for us, dance, run, jump. If you're in a puddle crying, and crying is great too, especially if you do crying that you start shaking and your nose is gushing and it's absolutely disgusting, awesome, fantastic, let it out. But if you don't want to be a puddle on the floor, dance, shake, run, play a drum, grab a rattle, just move those energies. Sitting through an emotion can be really powerful. So you may be watching a TV show and there's something in it that triggers your brain to think of an event that happened that really scarred you. Just sit with that, feel it, and ask yourself, what am I feeling? How am I feeling that? Why am I feeling that? If it's too big, that's fine. You've acknowledged it. And now you can go kind of to the next step when you're done acknowledging and you can start working through the next time it happens. Reiki healing. So in Reiki healing, we channel a specific type of energy called Reiki energy that fills the body and really helps to move those blockages around, really helps to get rid of anything that is no longer serving you in your greatest good. And then again, imbue you with new, healing, wonderful, beautiful energy that'll propagate your highest good to manifest. Art, paint, make collages, just create something, because again, that's an expression of whatever you're feeling inside. Plant medicine, you know, those of you in California, there are certain plant medicines that are legal here. So if you wish, and CBD, the non-psychoactive part of marijuana, is a great option. I mean, that's legal everywhere now, well, at least in the United States. I'm not sure about overseas, but definitely in the United States. And it has a really calming effect. If you have a hard time sleeping, it can heal a ton of diseases within the body. It can help your skin, it can help pain. There's a myriad of help that CBD can offer. I mean, I can do a whole other webinar just on CBD and the healing effects of CBD. I give it to my cat every day because he has full back end surgery and he's still healing from it, but he's going to be on it for the rest of his life to help with arthritis. So great, absolutely great. Dietary changes. These are the things that nobody wants to talk about because nobody wants to give up their Diet Coke and their chicken tenders and their Snickers bars. The good thing is, not telling you to get rid of them. I will just say finding healthier versions of them. So instead of Coca-Cola, get an all-natural soda that is sweetened with coconut sugar or monk fruit or maple syrup or just fruit juice, because that's going to be a lot healthier for your system. Sugar, and there's a million articles on this too, sugar is a highly addictive substance and does a lot to destroy your insides. So anytime that you can take that sweetener out and put in a different sweetener, tons better. Things like dairy. We are not conditioned to drink cow milk. There are a lot of people who can, and for them, great, but it's better if you don't. If you really want to, try to find a local farm that has milk straight from the cow, that minimally processed, instead of full of hormones and chemicals and all of the things that they put in to preserve it for a longer shelf life and all that stuff. Same thing with gluten, you know, and any food in general, anything that's heavily processed, anything that's filled with hormones. Soy is absolutely terrible for most people, but especially if you have hormonal issues, because it will completely mess with your estrogen levels. So just read the labels, think about where you're putting in your body, think about grass-fed, pasture-raised, you know, all that. But still have your double cheeseburger, just maybe a vegan cheese and grass-fed cow. And then I've spoken with some people to supplements. There are specific supplements that are going to be really helpful. Siberian ginseng is really good. Holy basil or tulsi is really good. Ashwagandha, is also a good one. And then if you want just a kind of, here's everything, I just want to take a pill, the Gaia Adrenal Health is my #1 recommendation for that. If your adrenals are really out of whack, they do have a jump start that you can start on to kind of rein everything in quicker and then switch to an adrenal health. But the adrenal health daily support is good. And then magnesium is also really good for adrenal health. I personally like using magnesium oil instead of taking it in little spray form. The reason that I do this, and it's somewhat masochistic, I guess, but when you spray magnesium oil on yourself after you get out of the shower, it may itch, and it may itch rather severely because it's telling you how deficient you are in magnesium. So it's kind of a good way to track it. You just have to be okay with temporarily itching for like 2 seconds. And it really is like 2 seconds. But that's up to you. It's just my preferred way. You can take it as a capsule. Just make sure, again, you know how it's sourced. You're trying to get organic and responsible and all.
Thank you so much for joining this webinar. I hope you guys have found it very informative and hopefully you've gotten some useful information out of it. If you have, feel free to give me a tip on Venmo or reach out and book an appointment if one of these healing modalities is something that you'd like to explore. You can check out my Instagram to see even more conditions that I can help with. And have a great rest of your day. Thanks.